Hallgaim és uraim, meg mindig lehet szabadon mondani Közép-Európában. Köszönöm. Köszönöm a meghívást. It's a great honor to be here with you and what we are facing to. We will soon celebrate 70 years since the founding of the European Coal and Steel Community. Union has been established on the basic thesis that linking markets would create a better future for all members, so war would never arise again. The founders were convinced Christians. This helped them to break out of the utopianism of building more empires, while protecting them from the belief that the kingdom of heaven could already be built in this world. How far have we moved from these foundations? 70 years on, the European Union is drawing up a plan to make the EU a carbon neutral by 2050. The first step is to reduce emissions by 55% by 2030. The chief architect of this green revolution, European Commission Vice President Frans Timmermans, has created the new Green Deal. It plunges the entire Union into poverty and security risk for the sake of a theoretical, better planetary tomorrow, even though the IPCC report itself states that human activity is warming the planet, but adds that aerosols produced by human activity are also cooling the planet. A green revolution is being promoted as on the national level would be impossible. But not only that. One of the main priorities of this Commission is to import the LGBTIQ+ agenda through the European Union. Most recently, the specific legislative proposal of the European Commission on cross-border recognition of same-sex marriages. It does so even though the family policy is the exclusive competence of the member states. The Commission is thus proceeding at least on the edge of European law, or rather beyond it. Not to be unfair to the Commission, its proposals and positions are criticized by majority of the European Parliament as being slow and insufficiently bold. One wonders, first, why is there a steady deepening of the madness, and why do we hear more and more often that there are no alternatives? It should be said at the outset of all the above example are direct consequences of the way the European Union is set up. It cannot be a superstate or federation. It has simple reason. The citizens of the member states do not consider themselves to be citizens of the Union in the first place. They identify with their nation states in the first place. No European demos, you mean nation, have ever emerged in the Union. On the structure, individual, family, state, and supranational entities, the state is still the highest possible denominator. In the face of threats, where there in the past debt threats to which the fiscal compact respond, or health threats with COVID-19, nation states have always been viable and have shown themselves to be viable. In extreme situations, they can deal with unexpected situations that the law has not foreseen. Supranational entities can contribute to resolving this emergency, but they can never, and I repeat, never resolve them. We feel ourselves to be Europeans, but not EU citizens. It's not a matter of any impression. The referendum on the Euro Constitution was unmitigated disaster for EU elites. How many people have tears in their eyes, except for passionate Beethoven fans, when they hear Ode of Joy? At the same time, it is not true that the citizens of nation-states think of themselves as somehow xenophobic. Just a small example from the Czech Republic. In the previous year, the STEM agency found that 69% of respondents felt that they belonged to Europe and they were Europeans. If we compare this figure with the satisfaction of Czechs in the Union, it clearly shows that most people have no problem feeling European, but not as EU citizens. The absence of European demos causes the absence of control of political representation, even at the highest political level. The absence of control is causing major fissures and the highest level of hypocrisy. Some political leaders speaking and acting differently in Brussels and differently to domestic audiences. We need only recall the hypocrisy of some Western politicians in the vote on migration quotas when they willingly voted in favor for redistributing migrants in Brussels, but in the same time and day on national television assured as public that they would not accept any migrants. The European Parliament is not a parliament representing the European demos. It is quasi-parliament. Its mandate is very weak, based on very poor turnout. This is in the run-up to the elections where mainly national issues are communicated. As such, this quasi-parliament does not have governing majority, the Commission is not government, and should not become one. The European Parliament is becoming an increasing powerful player without any responsibility for its political decisions. And here we are at another major problem, which is the minimal political accountability of EU actors and government representatives. If, for example, lively discussions on the new Green Deal have been going in Brussels for over 2 years, then in its full fruits will only be born by the people in few years, when Franz Timmermans will no longer be at the helm and a large number of the politicians who were at the start of this initiative will not be either. In the overall package of change, we are witnessing the first impact of EU policy decisions. The tripling of the price of emission allowance is causing energy prices to rocket. The lack of public scrutiny by political elites is also reflected in the increased influence of lobbying organizations and messianistic influences. How else can we explain the situation when an electric car is considered as carbon-neutral product when we do not take account how non-environmental its production was? Or can you imagine the members of the Environment Committee giving Greta Thunberg a standing ovation for her speech? That is only possible in the European Parliament and Western countries. Anyone can criticize. I have shown a few examples of how the system is broken with drastic consequences. Now, it would be fair to say how to change it. The clear objective is to shift the center of gravity towards those who have real legitimacy and responsibility, namely the representatives of the states. The European Council and the Council should substantially strengthen their competencies. At the same time, efforts should be made to introduce anonymity in broader areas than is currently the case. The member states are the masters of the treaties and should therefore keep an eye on the Commission and its non-exceeding competencies. It is time to significantly reduce the powers of the European Parliament. My basic thesis on this indispensability of the nation-state is nicely illustrated by the fact that the immediate direction of the Union will be decided by national presidential elections in France. The future of the entire Union lies primarily in the hands of the citizens of national states. So let us count on good results in the current French elections. Thank you for your attention.